The DLC Ashes of Ariandel it's finally out, and as it's usual from the company From Software, it brings more questions that answers. I wanted to do a video about the DLC, but sadly work got in the way and I only now had the time to do this video. But let's start right now. Let's first have a look at the painted world of Ariamis, the first iteration of the painting. It was the home to the Crossbreed Priscilla, an aberration born between Sith and Guinevere. She was trapped there by the gods in fear of her ability, Life Hunt. And with her, there were other exiles, for example, the Shanta's king Jeremiah, the demon crows, amongst many others. If you are familiar with the occult rebellion theory, you know that it was theorized in Dark Souls 1 that a revolution against the gods was in play, orchestrated by Velka, the goddess of sin, and Evil too. The demon crows were said to be originally designed as worshippers of the goddess Velka, whose bodies were warped by their devotion. This was said in an interview with Miyazaki. And Velka, together with his followers, could have been banished to the painting, so that she could no longer pose a threat to the gods, being possible that they were aware of an imminent revolution. And to support this, considering that the painting was guarded by the painting guardians, we can affirm that the only people that entered the painting in the era of the gods were the ones that they wanted to, the ones that they chose to forbade. However, the nature of the painting changed with time. As Anorlondo fell to ruin, the painting eventually became a place for refugees and forlorn souls. Different from the current opinion, I don't think that the monsters that we see there were sucked in like we were. When the painting stopped to be guarded, it became a home for forlorn souls. As the Undead Legion and the Abyss Watchers descended into ruin, the followers of Farron lost their purpose. And since they didn't partake in the wolf blood like their comrades, they survived as hollows and found a home in the painting. And this also applies to the Millwood Knights, that lost their home in the Millwood Forest and found a new place to reside in the painting. Ariandel was the restorer of the old painted world. It's unclear if he came to the painting by himself or if he was banished like the others. However, considering his Corvian features, it's possible that he was also a follower of Velka. And amongst the other Corvians in the painted world, he eventually became their leader and gained the title of Father. There are some indicators that we are indeed in Ariami's painting, only a restored version. The most resembling feature is the tower above the Gravetender Arena, that's closely similar to the place where we find Priscilla. We then have to consider the nature and rules of the painting world, as it doesn't follow the natural order of the outside world. It isn't very clear, but it does seem that it does not exist a renewing cycle of fire and dark. The world never changes, it always stays the same. And when something doesn't change for a long time, it starts to stink, it starts to rot. We can mainly see this in the original painting by Ariamis, by the engorged hollows roaming around. However, when the painting was restored by Ariandel, it seems that the rules changed. In the restored painting, blood is needed to appease the flame, as stated by the Rose of Ariandel description, which means that naturally exists a flame in this world. It makes sense that the original painting was made in comparison with the real world, where a flame should exist. Even a bell existed within the painting to draw ash when the flames started to fade. However, with the arrival of Friede, Father Ariandel changed his mind, and together they decided that they should suppress the surging of the flame. In this case, we see that the painting world behaves in a different manner from the outside world. We got to say that the dominant era is the Age of Dark, considering that the flame is being suppressed. And then the question comes, why didn't they want the flame to take its natural place? Well, it's a kinda hard question to answer. We have to look at Friede's motivations. Friede, being a former member of the Sable Church, believed in the ushering of a dark age, the Age of Man. However, considering that she renounced her vows to the Sable Church and her sisters, it's possible that she lost her faith in the search for a Dark Lord. However, we also have to remember that Elfriede is ash, and this means that she attempted in time to kindle the flame, but failed. It's possible that Elfriede realized that bringing an age of dark or even an age of fire is futile, as flame or dark will eventually take its natural place. And in this way, Friede was drawn to the nature of the painting, a world where she could choose to rot and avoid the never-ending cycle of flame and dark. It's also important to determine what the rot is. The rot is not exclusive to the painting, it's also manifesting in the outside world. It could represent the stagnation of the world. For me, I don't think it's related with the abyss or the dark age. As I said, when something doesn't change for a long time, it starts to rot. And the rot in the game, it's actually portrayed as a real decay, like when food starts to go out its expiration date. The demon flies that are attracted to the rot, the eggs that they seem to lay out, the larvae and maggots that are seen in the rotting beds and that are thrown at us by the flies. The rot is indeed portrayed as natural decay. And the rot could be a natural event that's happening in both worlds. As they aren't renewing themselves, the constant age of fire in the outside world and the age of dark in the painted world, they start to decay, the very own foundations of both worlds. And lastly, I want to take a look at the painter girl. There is a ton of possibilities on the identity of this girl. First one, it's theorized that she could be the child of Priscilla and the livid pyromancer Aditional, considering the description of the pyromancer's parting flame when he lost his hideous wife, and considering the location where he invades us. The second one, her father could be Ariandel, together with an unknown mother, considering how similar the names Ariandel and Ariamis are. And lastly, the third one, Ariamis and Kath. Okay, don't call me crazy right now, hear what I have to say. The most important stuff that we have to look at is her design, the snake eyes, the serpent scales on her body. To me, this excludes Ariandel as a possible father, considering his carving features. And it also excludes Priscilla as a possible mother, considering that she was part dragon. And also the line that she says,
"Don't worry, I haven't forgotten, Mother."
It has to point to the mother being Ariamis, as she was probably experienced in painting worlds. Of course, you could also look at the serpentine features as she being an incomplete dragon. And there's something itching in the back of my mind that the painting the girl is going to create, it's somehow related to the ending in the Dark Souls 2. The world she is going to create, it's one that we can escape totally from the cycle of fire and dark. It's a completely new world, not a restoring of the old one like Ariandel did. And the capability to draw this world has to be drawn from the flame itself. In order to create a new world, it's not enough to peep in the flame that has been going around since the time of the Age of Fire. The Dark Soul, it's also necessary, the one that was found by the furtive pygmy, in order to create this new world. And this new world will allow from a different path that we haven't seen before, one where we will escape the cycle of fire and dark, the gods, the abyss and all that crazy shit. A different world that escapes from the rules that we are used to. And this ends the video. There's a lot more stuff that I could talk about, but honestly we don't have the right amount of information so that we can grasp the entirety of the Dark Souls 3 lore and story. So I guess that we will have to wait for the second DLC. I really hope that From Software it's planning into some super crazy shit that ends the franchise in an awesome and totally understandable way. I really want that, but I'm not so sure that we will get it. But I guess we'll have to wait till the beginning of 2017. Until then, I see you guys in my next videos. See you later.